Hey! Oh!
I think we're both in different spots. We're both in new locations.
Yeah.
Still not in the same location.
Oh, yeah. Still in the house.
Not in the same house. Right? We're not in the same house, are we?
No, we're not. It would be weird if we... Matt?
Mike?
Matt? I only hear you in headphones.
Oh, right.
All right. Yeah, my usual spot. We're getting that all primed and ready for some debugging because we had one silverfish, and so now we're freaking out and putting poison and stuff everywhere. Yeah.
God, they follow you and your significant other like nobody's business. I've never seen one except for the one time that the three of us shared a hotel room together, and now they live with you.
Yeah, I think it's that same one. He's followed us all the way to Waterford, and he had some friends, and so we've been vacuuming like hounds and putting the poison out. But Matt, while it is fun to talk silverfish, we are here to do a little bit of wrestling talk here. It might be a little bit shorter episode, not as much glitz and glam this week, but we'll get some stuff in there. So hi, everybody. Welcome to a babyface Riker. Oh, my God. A babyface Riker pushing. New face of AEW anointing, which I think a lot more people are going to be excited about that. We're going to do some in your house pimping. Matt, it's another episode of the Brothers. Some discussion. We got some Mania rumors we want to go over. Matt, we got Triple H throwing some shade at the fans, saying fans ruining their own stuff half the time. And I can't. It's so. That's right, Clegane. That's my
Clegane's not happy.
He's not happy about this Jackson Riker haircut, babyface push. We're gonna get into it. We may have a special guest to the show, medium hair length cat jumping in. Oh. Matt, how are things now that you have not one but two babes?
It's going great. So we've had construction going down in the house. So we're out. We're out in an Airbnb about a half hour away from the house. Quick shout out to Colleen, who won't leave us the fuck alone. She's the Airbnb host. Mike, I don't know. I mean, Airbnb hosts, everyone out there. Same rules as Uber drivers. I'm not there to talk to you. I don't give a fuck how bored you are. I want to be left alone. I did not book this because I'm looking for a friend.
I just want it a little clean.
Right. Maybe I want to there better be coffee. If you don't, this place did not.
That's asking a lot.
Coffee.
If it's clean, there's toilet paper. I think. I know when we stayed at the one with the silverfish, there wasn't any toilet paper. Hey, what's up, Amy? Yeah, I like that picture of you in the glasses. I feel like I haven't seen that one in a while. Looks good.
It's a nice place. It's just leave me alone. We're in a great town. We're by Camp Dearborn in Kensington Park right now. So we're within 5 minutes of both. They both cost $10 to get into. So it's kind of like, which one are we going to get into? I was surprised, Mike. We haven't been to Camp Dearborn since we were little guys. Nobody there. Not a soul on the beach. Go to Kensington. Act.
Wow. Yeah, Camp Dearborn used to be the place to be.
I know. Any hoozles. Nobody cares if you're not from the Metro Detroit area. There's a beach. That's how my life's going right now. Do you remember? Yeah. Do you remember that metal death trap?
I think fondly of that. What they called a playground, we called a murder factory. Yeah, I remember that
giant robot that you could.
Did you put your children on it?
No, it's not there anymore. The giant robot does have now. They have the mini golf. That is one of the obstacles now. So it's like hey, remember all the kids that died on this thing? It's a memorial in the middle of the golf course.
I thought it was great for kids because there's a lot of stuff to mentally juggle when you're a parent. You're like, oh, that's right, tetanus shot. Like whenever you see that. Yeah, let's get into the wrestling nuggies here, Matt. I think we'll start with one. It's just kind of silly. Triple H making a point to I think they were talking, bugging him about ratings and people grumbling and rumbling on online and stuff like that. And Triple H said fans ruin their own stuff at the time, and not really wrong. I think we published enough articles about that, Matt. I think you've written enough articles about that. Definitely a lot of bright spots. I wouldn't focus on the sore spots. But I would like to point out the irony about fans ruining their own stuff. Triple H, a big fan of Joel Embiid, the center for the Philadelphia 76ers, who he introduced this week. And he introduced them right into an upset loss to the Atlanta Hawks. So yeah. I don't know if Triple H meant to ruin his own thing, but it did make me giggle.
That's the funny thing about this is I do... saying that he's wrong is not all right. Fans ruin their own stuff half the time. There's truth in that. Okay. I mean, the problem is, there's so many different angles to this because these wrestling programs listen to the fans too much. They don't just go full bore into what they want to do. And then it gets messy. And then they don't listen enough. Right? Like they always make the wrong decision on when to listen, it feels like. Like they either wait too long. The timing is never right. And then we go overboard on the hate when it doesn't go our way, which there's so many different avenues of content and creative things that we can absorb that we've seen similar reactions, especially when it comes to like Marvel movies and Star Wars. So it can't be like we can't sit here and go wrestling fans are the worst. But it's when I look at like the Star Wars side of things, I hate those people that like say that second Disney Star Wars movie makes no sense. And that for remember that story was challenging everything that was Star Wars, and you and I were huge fans of that. Who knows if that'll stand the test of time, but the pressure that those douchey Star Wars fans put on Disney resulted in the worst Star Wars movie ever. So it's kind of like if I would be a hypocrite if I sat back and I said those Star Wars fans ruined Episode 9, and then I didn't also take some blame as a pro wrestling fan. And for a podcast that rails into the WWE all the time, like we hold some blame for the WWE having their shit show all the time because it's that same thing where they're pretending that they're digging their heels into the ground, but they're also trying to give way. So it just turns into this mess where they lost their shoes and they also got swept out to sea. So they're just flapping up and down and they've got no control anymore. I don't know if that analogy quite makes sense to everybody out there, but like that's the problem is there wasn't just the one decision. They didn't just jump into the water and try and swim through it. They tried to fight Mother Nature. They tried to dig their heels in, and they also gave up at the same time. So it just causes an absolute mess. But again, I'll wrap it up and I'll say we all should share the blame. It's on the wrestling fans for...
Yeah, well, what we really look for is Triple H to, have a second clause to that sentence. Fans ruin their own stuff half the time, and we ruin it the other half. So kind of a 50-50 split. But, let's admit it, Triple H. There's a few times where if we didn't root for Daniel Bryan, there would have just been Blue Tista and what was it, Randy Orton at WrestleMania 30. So I don't know. He's half right. He just needed to finish the sentence there. But Matt, I'll say some kind of more interesting stuff here. With the live crowds coming back, they want to start treating at least this particular SummerSlam, like Mania. They want to do kind of an over-the-top card. God forbid, please don't let it be an 8-hour card. But to try and get that huge WrestleMania feel, allegedly it's getting more and more traction, Matt. and that's the head of the table, Roman Reigns, doing battle against Cena. And I think that there's a pretty strong likelihood that's going to happen. We're probably also going to see, a couple other part-timers like Brock come back and fight Bobby. But I got to say, Matt, I've got a tough hot take question because I didn't really have an answer for it because I didn't know which narrative to go walking down. So are you ready for this one?
Go for it.
All right. So SummerSlam historically is the Smarky pay-per-view. That's where we did see Daniel Bryan, defeat John Cena. I guess you know what I'm getting at. It's where the hardcore fans get to see the outcomes that they've always wanted. Where WrestleMania is kind of the more, WWE's, fairy tale endings. So with Cena versus Roman at SummerSlam, and SummerSlam historically being the Smarky pay-per-view, who does that favor in this matchup between Cena versus Roman? Who is the Smarky win in 2021?
I guess I don't know, because if I try and pull in the Daniel Bryan win and then Randy Orton comes out and ends up taking the title, I think that was what you were referring to. It's hard to take that match and really put a finger on what SummerSlam is all about. I'm going to say that the right move is keeping the title on Roman. I think that would just be something to further cement his case. Like I know it's I guess what's the Smarky move? Where do the smart marks get their payoff? Well, right now even CM Punk is out there saying that Roman Reigns is the best thing WWE has. And for one reason or another, we all respect his opinion at maybe too high of a level. So now that he said that, we're all just going to double down on Roman that much more. And even though, gosh, it would be fun to see Cena come back and win, I still have to think he's not quite got the room in his schedule to make that work unless whatever happened with his Fast and the Furious promos, if that's going to end his acting career. Now he's got to go back to pro wrestling. Then maybe he wins. But I think, yeah, if we're trying to say what is the smart mark going to be happy with, it's probably with whatever CM Punk said most recently. And even though he loves both of those guys, he more recently said, I love this too. We just lost all of our viewers as I was explaining this, but he most recently said he loves Roman Reigns. So I got to believe that's where that comes into play.
Wow. I didn't think we were going down that route. I would say that probably, I think the Smarky victory would be for Cena at this point. Just because I think Roman is the one that kind of makes more sense. He's the one who's been pushed to the moon by God on this championship run. It would be shocking, I think, to the whole world to see Cena get a little retribution, because we know historically he's had some pretty devastating physical defeats at SummerSlam. Thinking about Brock, and that's why. I am honestly, I'd be so excited to watch Cena come back and take the 3-second tan for Roman. But if there was some way that Cena and Brock could tie horns again, that I think that would be the coolest smart moment for me to see Cena. I don't know, maybe he learned how to fight a little bit and he could actually give Brock a potato or two before those gigantic gorilla fists mash him into his movie star face. I would like to see that, but I don't think we're going to. We can move on. Just kind of a bummer. Age 26 here, Matt. I just want to put the age out there because it seemed like he was with us for a while, helping out Bobby Lashley when he had his WWE run. But Lio Rush, retiring. He had a separated AC joint, and he just said he's tired of, the physical strain of now it just hurts to put on a shirt. It hurts to, pick up his kids, and he just doesn't want to do it anymore. He had that big moment at Double or Nothing, and it looks like it's already coming to an end, Matt. So we kind of lost him wrestling wise a lot sooner than I anticipated. I had high hopes for him. Charismatic dude, does a lot of physical things that very few human beings on Earth can do. But man, at that body weight, that height, that body's bone structure, tough to be part of the grind every night. So I got to think that factored in.
Yeah, I mean, like charisma for days. Like that's where you look at Lio Rush and you separate him from everybody else. And it's really unfortunate because we talk all the time about how hard it is. Like we always refer to it as casting, just like you're casting in a movie, TV show. A lot of the times, I'm not a fan of a pro wrestler because the casting's wrong and we're not seeing the emotion we need to believe what's going on. That's how that's almost number one for me in pro wrestling. It's not for a lot of people, but it is for me. And Lio had that. He had that MVP level charisma where he could, I mean, it was the same thing getting Bobby Lashley over. He did it just like MVP did it. And we were excited to see Bobby Lashley come out. And, to that end, I think Lio was able to go in a route that he probably preferred to go as a pro wrestler. But I hope that him retiring as a pro wrestler doesn't mean that's him ending his relationship with pro wrestling. Because obviously, like I said, charisma for days, there's got to be an opportunity to fit Lio Rush in somewhere. And, there's a lot of guys out there that have the skill, have the talent to go in the ring, and they could use a mouthpiece. And now Lio Rush, if he's ready to go in a different direction, all the power to him, respect that decision. But me as a fan of his, as a holder, a wielder of the microphone, I really hope that there's a spot for him somewhere.
Yeah, it sounds like he said he's still going to fulfill his obligation in New Japan. They had a contract with him and probably be doing some appearances. But at the very least, like you said, maybe be a mouthpiece. For somebody be pretty lucky. And speaking of mouthpieces, Matt. Woo! He's going from busted open. I don't know if we're going to call him a rival, but Mark Henry was on busted open for a while now. It looks like he's going to be doing commentary on AEW. I'm a Henry fan. I do love that he came out in his debut and said he's got a lot left in the tank, which obviously was part of one of the best fake retirement promos of all time when he world's strongest slam John Cena and right after saying baby girl coming home. Obviously Big Show must have been or I guess we don't call him No More BS, Paul White telling Mark Henry, dude, you got to come over here, this place is fantastic. AEW just happy to add more credible talent. And then Matt, if you want to kind of just touch on this one too, Andrade, also elite. So we did lose Lio, but man, what a couple acquisitions for AEW. Snagging Henry, snagging Andrade, who comes out and says, I'm not just the face of Latinos. I'm the face of all elite wrestling. And Matt, now we can fantasy book the hell out of this guy. He kind of seems like the type of character that AEW loves. Matt, are you as jazzed about this as the folks reacting?
Yeah, I just want to throw out North Moto. I see both your questions there. We'll hit them both up in a second there. But yeah, Mark Henry on commentary at AEW. It takes a lot for me to get stoked about a new commentator. To get really jazzed up. Like some of the tweets that happen when Mark Henry is announced. Or things start progressing and we see all of he's going to be on commentary kind of things. I'm like, okay, cool. That's, there's always these we got a huge announcement. And then that happens. I'm like, okay, great. Cool.
Yeah. I'm glad that we also got Andrade. Right.
That's where I wanted to go.
That's a massive announcement. Yeah.
And I I think too, like, people are still looking at these things in the wrong way. This is amazing for us, the pro wrestling fan. Take AEW off of your, like, just go like this, toss it away. This isn't great for AEW. This is great for us. This is great for Andrade. Like, we have one of the best pro wrestlers in the world right now back on our televisions. It's a tragedy that at his age, like, this is the peak, where he's mixing in knowledge of the business. He's clearly an athletic and a specimen to behold. And he's got, just like we were talking about with Lio Rush, he's got the charisma. Damn the WWE for fucking that up. But this is a guy. The only thing that kind of hurts my excitement. I shouldn't say it hurts my excitement. I think I'm just bummed for Andrade on how that whole thing panned out. I thought there could have been more pomp and circumstance. I thought he got kind of bummed out by.
It wasn't quite as odd as it wasn't quite as odd as like when we had Matt Hardy debut in an empty arena for AEW, but yeah, for him to come out, at the 10 p.m. show, the 10 p.m. show on a Friday, which obviously based on the way they produced this past Friday, they know people are not staying up for that. The main event was Goldust versus what's his name? Nakataro? Let me get his name up for you. Oh God, I lost it. Fine. Yeah, Camarado, that Nick Camarado, the big hairball. So yeah, I did think if you're gonna do it, I would have given it a bigger spot. I maybe would have waited till the NBA playoffs were done or something, or at least until they have this obligation to give basketball Wednesday night preferential treatment. But at least we got him. So we can grumble just because we feel like he's deserving of a little bit more. But at least we got him. At least he's going to be on our TVs, and things get back to normal after these teams start getting eliminated in basketball. My God, Wednesday nights are going to be Andrade nights. That's insane.
Can I book also? Like, he's clearly going to have feuds for the next 3 months, but 3 months from now, I know Aleister Black is already being rumored to be coming back to the WWE.
Yeah.
But if they aren't licking their chops at Zelina Vega walking into the arena and then announcing, like, we all would know, right? We know the relationship between Zelina and Andrade, but then announcing her husband's, coming to the ring, and we go on like a 3-month feud of something that was some of the best NXT wrestling we ever saw, and watch Andrade and Aleister Black go at it, or Tommy End. I mean, that would be that's something that changes that changes like the scale a little bit in pro wrestling. That's where I've got my show I'm tuning into. Now, Mike Northmoto wants to know what we think about the new Hulk Hogan movie. Starring it's Chris Hemsworth, right? I gotta make sure I get that right.
The good one.
I want to see if I can pull up one of these images here of Chris Hemsworth in his arms, because Jesus Christ, is it? I mean, it's almost gross. Because he's this is real. Like what I'm about to bring up. They showed off this image on the set of what's the Guardians of the Galaxy. And I was just, and it's him with Taika Waititi, and Taika's just kind of looking at his arms like, Jesus. Look at this mother.
Holy mother of God.
It borders on disgusting. But clearly he's got to fill out the pythons. He's taking this role very seriously.
To do, like, his own 24-inch pythons. Is that what he's going for?
Exactly. Like, this is he's just as involved from a body transformation standpoint as Christian Bale. I would say this is probably harder than turning into a twig. What would you say, Mike? Like, what's harder, being Christian Bale and turning into a little twig to live your role, or to bulk your arms out like this?
I will say
to be Hulk Hogan and Thor. Really,
undoubtedly, it's more difficult for you to make Thor look like a pansy, because somehow now Hulk Hogan via Hemsworth is going to dwarf the mighty Thor. So this is a stunning picture. If this isn't photoshopped at all.
No, because I could back up. I wonder if this will let me. No, it's not going to let me do it. But there's a bunch of photos online now of. Oh yeah, let me see if I can pull up. I'll pull up this, which is like this one that I'm actually. This is the Taika Waititi one. Let me. I know this is ridiculous. I'm just sitting here hemming and hawing while I try and get this queued up. But so this is the one where Taika Waititi is actually right off to the left. So this is from the film of Guardians of the Galaxy. So he's not quite flexing and pulling up as he was in the last photo. But yeah, this is it. And you can really sell it too when Taika Waititi's right next to him with his arm exposed. You can see how much bigger
his feeble, his feeble little noodles out there.
Yeah, normal person.
No, so yeah, North Moto. I'm obviously we're gonna be there, if not opening night, the opening weekend. We love wrestling, we love Hemsworth, but man, it does kind of feel like whoever cast that movie kind of overshot it. I mean, hormone replacement therapy. They did something in a lab, I'll tell you. But I am a little surprised that it was Chris Hemsworth, knowing what a poop, Hulk Hogan is in real life. That they didn't have to use like Luke Hemsworth or Liam Hemsworth. That they went the big guns and got the good Hemsworth and Chris. The more from the set we see, I think we're all pretty excited. I think we're all going to be Taika Waititi, going, wow, good Lord. So,
yeah, Amy's, I'm right there with Amy. Like, yeah. I really hope that this isn't just going to be glorifying his life.
I hope it's not in the same vein as the movie about Paige.
Right. It absolutely can't be. Come on.
It should be much more of an expose.
Yeah. Hey, we both said it. Just I didn't put the little line above the E. It's got to expose Hulk Hogan. It's got to tell the real story. But yeah, Hemsworth is clearly one of our we don't deserve him. He does such a good job with Thor, and now he's like, all right, well, if I'm going to be playing Hulk Hogan, I got to get those pythons. Also, we've all seen. I'm assuming, since it's like one of the highest, it is the highest grossing film of all time. We all saw Avengers Endgame, right, and Infinity War. Yeah. It would be a fun little storyline to see him go from the tub of goo to that ripped machine. That's all. That should figure into the plot line somehow.
Can I say at some point when they do another sequel or reboot to Predator, it absolutely needs to be Hemsworth.
As
not necessarily playing the Predator. I want him out there Schwarzenegger style. Okay. Covered in the mud, going to fight. But yeah, let's do a couple more of these, Matt. I guess we got to bring it up because it was stunning news, Matt. Jackson Riker, not only is he surviving all the WWE cuts, not only is he getting a push, he's getting a babyface push. And Vince McMahon thinks we're all going to turn and get on this guy's side because Riker asked Robert Roode, hey, who does your haircut? And now they have the same haircut. Matt, we've seen some stunning developments in our past. Globally, everybody worships Roman Reigns when previously the guy was just outspoken and hating the relationship with fans. Fans, booed him mercilessly. and now they kind of get it. They turned around on this guy. Obviously, it's for wildly different reasons. The hate going Riker's way with some of the thoughts and posts that guys had in social media. But my God, Matt, is there any way that this guy can turn it around and get a crowd behind him?
Not a crowd. I think as long as there's nobody around, they'll have a chance to tell the story. I just think it's a ticking time bomb, right? I mean, we're looking right at it. The second that fans are in the stadium, this guy's going to get booed. I think they tried to take advantage a couple of times with trying to, see if they could test Velveteen Dream. Riker might also be in the middle of one of these tests. I mean, his own tag team partners from the Forgotten Sons have already called him out, have already made sure that they have no connection to him because they were disgusted by the kinds of things that he was very open about, according to these guys who were his tag partners in NXT. This is, I don't know, this is something where, Velveteen Dream, he's done, he's gone. But this was something where we have the proof, like the solid evidence was there. And wrestler after wrestler has come out and said, I can't be a part of this. I can only say for Velveteen Dream is that we saw like some pictures and stuff like that. I don't really want to get into it, but that was still in that accusation side of things where all of this with Riker has been out there and talked about from top to bottom. And I mean, like to the point of, Xavier Woods going on Twitter and sort of questioning what are we doing here with Riker and why am I doing segments with him? I don't know. It's like I said, ticking time
Isn't it most stunning? I mean, there's so many like just shocking revelations as this develops. But I can't believe the sacrificial lamb is Elias. Like, not only somehow Riker survived the cuts. They got rid of our beloved Heidi and Tommy End and Braun Strowman, of all people, who we thought was going to retire in WWE at 65 years old. Just still wrestling in some capacity. I don't know. Like, it's not like they're using him as a prop to like get Elias over as a more credible heel. Riker got to put one over on him, and it's like, were we really dying for baby faces at this point to like have the switch like that? Is Vince that enamored of the like? I don't know. I mean, you can't argue that Riker kind of has that WWE look to him. Like 6'2" shredded, but. Gosh, there wasn't anybody else they could have found for this. Nobody.
Right.
I don't know.
I mean,
it's more an indictment on WWE than Riker. He's like, well, I guess I'm still employed. I clearly should tell all of you where the company stands. They don't care about what I put on Instagram. So it's just another reason not to worship the company and just tune in for the guys you like.
It's crazy at this point that what's going to end up helping people get a push is if their contract is affordable. It looks like if we can afford to keep you on the books, you're going to get a push. We're going to turn you.
Lest we forget, it's a self-imposed salary cap.
God. Right. Oh gosh, where all this money go? We had so much we could spend.
I know, we got to get rid of some guys. The draft's coming up. Yeah, you did the draft. I don't know.
I mean, that is a whole. We mentioned it last week. That's a whole nother like full episode of breaking down what went wrong here, because we've been saying it since the show started that this roster was just way too big. There was way too much talent, and it could have been spread elsewhere. And that's where you start the conversations of, would you take that job and just hang out at the Performance Center? Me? Absolutely. But I'm also not there. I don't have the drive as some of those people do. And that's probably why I won't be there, because I'm not the guy who would settle for that role. But but yeah, it did, like I said, longer story, longer conversation about were they just trying to snatch up talent to make sure other companies weren't getting those opportunities. There's probably a lot of truth to that now that we're seeing people just dropped, even though they're right in the middle of storylines for budgetary reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, like just to finish this off and to wrap it up into why that fits into Riker's, just, I mean, this is probably a guy from Vince's perspective that Vince probably doesn't see. He doesn't see the issue apparently because he's not on the chopping block, and that salary's got to be right there. That with whatever makes sense. It's it's something too where Riker probably won't come up with a huge argument as to why he deserves more, because he's probably just thanking his lucky stars that he's still got a job. So, yeah, it's a great position from the negotiating table for the WWE.
Yeah. Well, usually we try to do, go back and forth with AEW and NXT. We've kind of had to put a pin in that just because AEW's been kind of forced on late Friday nights. So we kind of, touched on a few things about some of the additions with Henry and Andrade, of course. Leo Rush having to already say goodbye to AEW. And then the main event was Goldust versus Camarado. So we know there, it wasn't business as usual at AEW. So we're going to give them a little bit of a break. And I'd say we're just going to close the show here, Matt, with NXT Takeover in your house 2021. Pretty, it's just commonplace. It's what we've come to expect when we look at the card for another NXT special event or pay-per-view, that it's, bananas. And we're, pretty pumped for most of the matches on the card. So, yeah, I think we could get right into it if you're ready.
Yeah, let's roll.
I think the one that selfishly I'm most excited about, because I love the way that they're still developing her character. I was really afraid she was going to get lost on the wayside. That's my beloved Xia Li. Oh, what a follow on Instagram, let me tell you. She's going to do battle against Mercedes Martinez, and I have to think that Martinez is such a professional that she's going to try and do as much as she can to get Xia Li over. It's just kind of I think for me, Matt, it's kind of a tough match because they've both been I wouldn't call them like devilish evil heels, but neither of them have really been babyface. So maybe that'll be kind of the tough part of this match, like production wise.
Yeah.
But I have to think that Mercedes is going to, be that pro and try and get Xia Li over.
What I like is they're actually doing a pretty good job telling this story. With something that, I don't know, probably deserved more time, or with the track record that WWE and NXT have with going back in time and trying to bring up things that happened in the past and having that revolve around a feud. It just kind of begs some more questions in regards to why they don't do that more often. Other wrestlers' history is just completely forgotten. But, this is WWE history, so it's the Mae Young Classic that Mercedes Martinez showed very little respect to Xia Li. And I just, right now, I'm just a fan that they are going back that far to tell that story, give us some reason, some purpose as to why we should be excited for this. And you're right. This is for Mercedes Martinez to lay down, hand out some victories, and also be dynamite in the ring. And we've been Xia Li fans since she showed up. She got shots at the Royal Rumble. That was 3 years ago now.
Yep.
So they knew that she could go. So this is really just trying to find that storyline that's going to line up with, I guess, with keeping her relevant with the viewers. Like Triple H would say, we're just going to ruin it anyway. Just kidding. But
yeah, I think Mercedes too. This is an excellent use of her power, because I think she knows that she can really make the best use of her abilities to help get over fresher talent, newer talent, younger talent. And she was not going to do that in Retribution, which of course is already disbanded. So it's great that, you know, she had this plan. They're letting her go through with it, and we're going to see the fruits of that labor this weekend. I honestly, going up the card, this is the match I'm number 2. I'm as excited about. I love Xia Li. Can't wait to see her. But I am really giddy for Cameron Grimes versus LA Knight. It's going to be $1 million championship ladder match, and for some reason they felt it was time to bring back Ted DiBiase. You know, that we needed to not only bring him back, but bring back his ridiculous $1 million championship and throw in a ladder as a gimmick. I gotta say, I would be fine just watching Cameron and LA Knight fight in a smaller arena where I can hear them banter back and forth. I think that's where the real money is. I don't know if either of them really needs a piece of gold at this point.
Right.
I just want to hear more of them talk. I just want to hear more of them tell stories, and I think it's just going to be who is at this juncture the better speaker. Who's going to be that person who could just get themselves over by, you know, using a microphone.
Yeah.
And that's where this one for me is kind of tough to pick, because I don't think that LA Knight really needs anything, but he hasn't established himself yet, you know, under the WWE umbrella. So he's probably going to win this match.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense for Cameron Grimes to actually hold that title, in my opinion. I think they're really starting to sell him as the sympathetic babyface, and I think it's working a lot. And it just goes back to when you and I don't know, probably 2 years ago when we first saw him, we were really excited about Cameron Grimes. Last year, I couldn't stop gushing about him. Almost every episode we had, I would find some reason to bring up my love for Cameron Grimes. And then this year has been a great chance for him to really stand out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, for me, Cameron Grimes has to lose this. And he's, you know, I guess maybe Ted has to get involved to make sure Cameron doesn't win. Because we saw on NXT, I think a week ago, it was Ted was saying like, "Oh yeah, Cameron Grimes is really starting to look like he deserves this thing." But yeah, we don't want him to have it. That's the heel belt, and I don't want to see this heel belt. You know, if they're gonna start making it wishy washy just so that we can see the $1 million championship belt, like that one. That's one that does nothing for me, really. I like. I don't really have a real connection to it. I know, you know, like we could sit there and play the game of who's held it, and you know, Stone Cold. But it still does nothing. So keep it a heel belt. Don't just give it to Cameron because you want the cool guy or the more popular guy to be holding the belt.
I don't know. This match for me, it just feels like an everything supreme pizza with stuffed crust, with cheese, and it has hot dog in the crust, and there's like Cajun seasoning on the crust. I'm like, I just wanted a pizza. I didn't need all that extra stuff. I'm going to be fine without it. Then there's this really, I don't think we've ever seen this gimmick before, but it's a winner takes all match for the NXT Tag Team Championship and North American Championship. WWE doing their best on the main roster to extend the cards as long as possible. NXT is just going to be like, well, next pay-per-view, we're going to have the NXT Women's Championship match, Tag Team match, North American Championship, and $1 million Championship, and a winner-take-all 8-on-8 match. I'm pretty pumped for Bronson Reed and MSK versus Legado del Fantasma. This, for me, I think it's just kind of surprising in that it's not Hit Row being involved in some way. And for me, that kind of guarantees Legado del Fantasma is going to win and probably be doing some sort of, you know, big battle with Hit Row in their future. At least that's what I would want to see. And, you know, I love a good faction Bumble Rumble. And Bronson and MSK, you know, they can get away with saying, well, they don't quite have the chemistry of Legado del Fantasma. So they did come in second place in this take-all match. Matt, am I on the right track on this one?
I mean, my head is just give Legado del Fantasma all the gold that is available to them right now. And if this is the way to do it, to make sure that everybody stays strong, because there's those asterisks you can throw on it, I'm all for it. Go for it. Do whatever you can to make sure that the right tag team, the better tag team, the better faction, as it were, is holding some gold. And
And I love when established teams or factions win against, like, just mismatched, let's cobble these guys together. So I would really like to strengthen that idea of, what a real tag team, group effort is. So give me Legado all day.
And I'll throw in there with Hit Row. I want to hold off. I think they're doing great work right now. I want to hold off a little bit before we give them tag team gold. All right. Next on the list, women's championship
2 matches left. Yep, NXT Women's Championship.
Hot take, Mike. Mercedes Martinez versus Xia Li is going to be a better match than this. All right, and I think the thing is, this Raquel Gonzalez
I'm gonna give you 60 seconds to defend that hot take. All right, it's 9:41. You got 60 seconds. Go.
The longer we see Raquel Gonzalez holding the belt and the more matches she's in, I think the clumsier she looks, and we saw that in the last big women's championship match that she had. So I think that this whole Raquel Gonzalez title reign is trying to take advantage of, we were all pretty high on her, and especially saying goodbye to Rhea Ripley. I think they wanted another big bruiser to establish themselves. But this, going back to Shawn Michaels' quote a couple of weeks ago, this is all going to be about Dakota Kai getting a face run with the title and finally getting the NXT Women's Championship. So that's where my head's at. But this match will serve as another build of Raquel Gonzalez, and there's potential. I think every championship match Raquel has, there's potential that we're going to see Dakota get involved, and we'll start to get deeper into what I think is a future storyline with those two.
Matt, I would be all over a Dakota Kai title run. I would be buying the T-shirts, the shorts, the mask, whatever you got. Team Kick, get me on board. I know she doesn't really do that anymore, but I'm still pining. I think Ember Moon's just in this match to try and, increase Raquel's credibility. Ember, God bless her. I don't know if we're ever going to see her win a title again. But if she's got to be a sacrificial lamb, because she did have that great run against, like Shayna and Kyrie. If this does lead to Dakota versus Raquel, we're all just in for a real treat there, to finally see Dakota get her crowning moment. This is Gonzalez all the way until we get to that bigger payoff with Dakota. And that leads us to the Fatal 5-Way, Matt, for the NXT Championship. Karrion Kross with the lights, the cool music, the hot girl, Adam Cole. All he gets is the freaking bell. Peter Dunne, Jonathan Gargano, and then Cal O'Reilly. O'Reilly.
All right, let's rank them. Who's most likely to win this match? But start with least likely.
Okay.
Kyle O'Reilly.
Probably going to be Peter Dunne. I think he's just there to help get over a certain somebody I have at number 1. Matt, you're number 3.
You have Kyle O'Reilly at number 1. You're ridiculous.
I didn't say that.
All right. My number 3 is going to be Adam Cole. I don't think that Adam goes away after losing to Kyle, and then he just comes back and wins the belt. So where am I at? Kyle, Johnny, Adam. Number 2.
Number 2. So the guys are off the board, or do I get to do my own? Because I only did 5, 4, 3. Yeah, 5 was Johnny, 4 was Cal. No, 4 was Pete, 3 was Cal, 2 was Adam. Matt, I think that kind of leaves one name up top. But
Pete Dunne is my number 2, and then Karrion Kross is like clearly, I think a fatal 5-way. It could clearly be the way that we talk ourselves into. Pete Dunne is who I'm picking as my number 2, most likely to walk away with the belt. Like that's how you help tell that story, I guess. But maybe, I don't know. Maybe Pete Dunne is supposed to be the guy that gets like a real victory over Karrion Kross. But anyway, I think I'm just starving for a Pete Dunne victory. But it doesn't matter. Like number 1 is Karrion Kross for me. This is just going to be about him selling how brutal he can be, because it's one thing when it's 4 against 1, but it's a whole nother thing when they're all gunning for each other. So Kross will take advantage of that. He's also got Scarlett here and there, when there's an opportunity. And there's still that story of Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole, that if either one of those guys has an opportunity to win, they're going to be more focused on hurting that guy, I think. And I think it'll pretty much be Adam Cole will probably have a great chance to win this, and Kyle will focus in on Adam Cole and causing pain rather than winning the title. So that's where Kyle to me figures into this match, and why I put him as number 5.
I think this is, a little bit like it's in the same vein as Roman Reigns beating up Daniel Bryan and Edge in the same match. We're 2 legends of the WWE. We're just stacked on top of each other to get to. Yeah. Did you say frack them like they're oil? So they're just there to get over Roman. And now we've got a collection of NXT legends in Cole, Pete Dunne, Gargano, and then Kyle O'Reilly borrowing clothes from my boy Orange Cassidy. They're just trying to fast track this Karrion Kross as the head of the company. And after this, when he wins, I don't know what's really left for him. I don't know if one of these 4 goofs, after getting toppled and stacked by Karrion Kross, all 4 of their bodies stacked by Karrion Kross. I don't know who's left. I don't know who's next. I don't know if that means like Keith Lee's coming back to fight Karrion Kross, because at this point, I don't know who else really moves the needle, because I don't think it's any of these 4 guys.
Yeah, I mean, my needle gets moved by Pete Dunne. I think out of all these guys, he's most deserving of a title run. Like, who should be next is Pete Dunne. And I think Kyle got as good of a shot as he'll get. Yeah. To me, that's the long and short of it. But yeah,
I think the hardest question of this is, I think we're on the same page that this is Karrion Kross's to lose. All these other guys are there as the greatest hits to make him look even better. So the hardest question is just what comes next for Karrion Kross. Is there anybody on that NXT roster you want to see him battle at the next special event or pay-per-view? Or is it call-up time already? Are we going to see him at SummerSlam?
Man, that's such a scary thought too. Like as we've seen over the last few months with everybody getting released, and then over how many years now have we been watching NXT and everybody getting called up, and only a handful of guys have been successful. So that doesn't even do anything for me anymore. Knowing that, Karrion Kross getting the call up does not get me juiced up. I hate to say it, but I'd have to say like ranking things I want to see happen at SummerSlam. At this point, I'm just like, all right, if I'm going to watch WWE, just make it Brock Lesnar and John Cena, and that's why I watch WWE. That'll be it.
I don't mean like, your own personal viewing that you need to see Karrion. Is there anything left for him to accomplish on NXT?
No, and you could probably make the argument for all 5 of those guys that they're all done. It's really just who's going to own this show. Like, whose dream was it to be on the main roster, and do they want to see themselves there? And who's happy being the owner of NXT? Which I think those 4 guys are all proud owners of NXT. So that would be the best argument for Karrion to get the call up, as if he was just, that's what he was all about. I'm a Monday Night Raw. I will change Monday Night Raw to being viewable kind of thing. I don't have a ton of confidence if that was his point of view on the topic. I will just say, I to tip the cap if that is, of course, how he feels. All right, final thought. I guess to put the capper, Karrion Kross getting the win. Kyle getting mixed up with Adam Cole. Pete Dunne hopefully looks strong. Johnny, I mean, he's got the way, so he definitely he doesn't need this. All right.
Yeah, it's I don't even see those other guys in there, Matt. It's just Kross.
Real
Kross.
Quick, our boy from our wrestling group just wanted to throw out there. He's doing some research for us right now that he does see there's more WWE releases to come. Ooh. Part of the reason I think he did throw that comment in there is that I accidentally copy and pasted our title and our show notes from last week. So that's going to confuse a lot of people. So during this episode, I was slowly changing it from YouTube and Facebook to have what this episode's actually about. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, we're going to keep our eyes peeled. I just want to throw that out there. Jacoby, thanks for tuning in and throwing out that little note. Hopefully there isn't anything else that we do see, but clearly it becomes, I don't know.
I mean, we might release the other 4 guys in that middle 5-way after Kross.
Yeah.
I
still say Adam Cole eventually. I still say he's destined for AEW. He seems like the kind of guy who's not done.
It's nuts that he's not working with his wife.
Yeah. All right. Let's wrap it up, Mike. I hope you enjoy your next week. We'll just leave it at that. And then I hopefully will be back in my house.
Hopefully you make it home, and then hopefully I make it home. So there you go. And we're in under an hour. Well, we're on record on the Brothers of Discussion.
And everybody, check out. I just recorded a special episode for the Hockey Podcast Network. They do Dynasty by Decade. So this is for any hockey fans out there. This is not our regular hockey show. This is actually about the Detroit Red Wings in the 1990s and from the 80s and 90s, sort of a documentary style. I record with Ken Kell, the radio broadcaster for the Detroit Red Wings, really becoming a friend of us and the Hockey Podcast Network. But we go through all that. So check that out on the Hockey Podcast Network. It's their new show brought to you by DraftKings. It was a blast. So if you guys are hockey fans, I highly recommend you check that out. It was a ton of fun. All right, everybody, check us out, bodpodcast.com, brothersofdiscussion.com, at bodpodcast on Twitter, especially while we're watching in your house on said Sunday. And then, of course, we never even talked about Kenny Omega and Moose. Damn it.
They're going to fight.
That's going to be fun. Kenny Omega should win. I'm sorry, but Impact screwed up. If they actually want to tell this story properly, Kenny should not drop that belt quite yet. If they want to just have this have been, Kenny held our title for a little bit and completely ruin anything going for this, then Moose will win. All right, there's my thoughts. Everybody, thanks for tuning in.